You see, family, in previous lessons, we showed how the Israelites of old were a black Negroid race, confirmed and verified beyond a shadow of doubt through multiple sources. For example, we can find depictions of the ancient tribe of Judah in roughly 701 BC, living close to the Gaza Strip. Depicted on the smooth walls of the Lakesh relief as a Negroid people, having short, nappy, woolly hair, as described in the Bible. We also pointed out that a secondary source consisting of cranial analysis confirmed that the ethnicity of the inhabitants of Judah and Lakesh were Egypto-Nubian people, which would be expected because Israel lived in Egypt. And yet, today we have a war by a people claiming to be Israel who don't quite look like ancient Israel, whose DNA shows them to have originated from the biblical land of Ashkenaz, the lands of Japheth, located at the foot of the Caucasus Mountains.
If I can remove this audio. Peace and blessings, fam. Hey, shalom, shalom. If we could just do a quick mic check, family, a quick audio check. So if my audio sounds okay in the chat, if you could please just put a 1 in the chat. Please place a 1 in the chat, fam, if my audio sounds okay. And shalom to everyone. I see lots of thank you, Brother Ricky, Sister Cassandra. All right, thank you. See a bunch of 1s in the chat. All right, so most high willing, our audio, we won't have any audio issues today. So we will see. Well, shalom to everybody. Hey, thanks for joining in. This should, definitely should be an interesting discussion with our panel today. I think you will find this discussion topic interesting, especially based off of the the opinion poll results that that I had earlier this week. So if you don't know, on the Benai Israel channel, if you click on the community tab, and actually let me see if I can do that, family. Let me see if I can share my community tab on my my page here, and then after that we will bring in our guests. So bear with me just for a second. So I'm going to try to do share screen. Go to my windows. We will click on this here. All right, so hopefully you all can see that. And let me go over to the Benai Israel channel. There we go. So it looks like everything is showing. So here we go. So yeah, so here's the opinion poll that I put out last week. And this just had to do with some of our beliefs as far as whether you flee or whether you stay, or if so, when. I guess that was the biggest question that we were asking in this poll was, when do you flee Babylon? Just to get an idea of where people were. So that was the intention of this poll. And as you can see, roughly 2/3 of the participants said, flee before Babylon's judge, which is pretty interesting. So you can see the rest of the results there. And I think, most high willing, later on this week, we will have a couple of other opinion polls. So definitely just keep an eye out for that, because just trying to get an idea of where people's thoughts and opinions are when it comes to Israel. But with all that being said, family, I think so based off of our results, I think that really does play into what we're going to talk about today, and that is for our brothers and sisters that are looking to move to Africa. And actually, I have to give a couple of disclaimers up front. So this is something that my lawyers would have us to say is like, the thoughts and opinions of our guests don't necessarily represent the opinions of the Benai Israel channel. But just keep that in mind, family. But we definitely do want to hear what they have to say and listen to, or take a look at some of the things that they're doing over in Africa. All right. So with that being said, family, we do have quite a few brothers and sisters that are looking to make that move over to the continent sooner rather than later. At least that's what I'm taking from this opinion poll. And based off of that, we do have the United, bear with me just for a second, United Global, UGKA, Kingdoms of Africa organization online with us today. And actually, we are honored to have the President Walton with us. So I'm going to bring President Walton on along with everyone else. So if you can bear with me, family, as I start clicking on some buttons to bring our guests forward. So President Walton and our Zakane and our Emas, our staff here. Let's see. And family, just let me know if hopefully I have everybody on stage. Am I missing anyone, family? Are we all
present and accounted for, sir?
All present and accounted for. All right. So if you haven't heard, so United Global Kingdoms of Africa, and actually, I guess what we can do, family, before we get started, if we could just go through a quick roll call and if you could introduce yourself, starting with President Walton. And maybe even, I guess, President Walton, since you would have the floor first, just given a overview of what the organization's about as well.
Absolutely. Can you hear me clearly, sir?
Yes, sir. Audio sounds great.
Perfect. My name is Lavell Walton, born and raised in Seattle, Washington, currently in Johannesburg, South Africa as we speak. Started this organization or this company with Princess Lorna of the Imbo Kingdom, King Bongani III's daughter of the Imbo Kingdom down here in South Africa. Started this business being United Global Kingdoms of Africa. The purpose and the focus of the organization, or the vision, shall I say, was always to unite the kingdoms and restore sovereignty to the kingdoms of Africa globally, as well as uniting the Bantu people in general and returning, restoring, rebuilding, and re-educating our people back home on the continent, from the diaspora to the continent, and making that reconnection for all Bantu people. So what we do now is do community development, giving the people a chance to begin to develop together as far as homes, communities, businesses, agriculture, things of the like, and just beginning to start a fresh new life, if that makes sense, but doing it together. In other words, kind of like the two sticks being joined together.
All right, thank you for that, President Walton. Zakane Bateman, I'm just going down the list, the order here.
Hi, shalom, everyone. My name is Zakane Bateman. I am with the United Global Kingdom of Africa, and we are here to provide spiritual guidance to the United UGKA as we move forward to build this community of Bantu people who are coming home. In addition to that, we just want to make sure that we build that bridge between the diaspora and the continent to make sure that they have a path forward as they decide to make their decisions to come to Africa. Now yield.
All right, Dr. Stone.
Yes, shalom. I am Dr. Angel Stone, and I too am with United Global Kingdoms of Africa. And again, I echo what has been said prior. I'm here. I'm the director of the Judicial Department. And basically my role here is to ensure that the diaspora, as individuals are making decisions to move to the continent, that they're making knowledgeable decisions that are within the realm of the law, that is most advantageous for them. And again, with this, it also gives me the opportunity to assist individuals, as I have assist individuals in this area in the marketplace, but just to be able to assist Yasharel and assist our people into coming back home making the best decisions. I yield.
Hallelujah. Welcome. All right, Attorney Yasha. I think you're still on mute, Ema. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Shalom. I am Attorney Yasha. That is my affectionate name. I am an attorney with the Judicial Council of UGKA. I serve alongside Dr. Angel Stone, and our sole goal as the Judicial Council is to make sure that the organization and our people are protected as we move forward with our various projects.
Welcome, 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 Imayasha.
So,
all right, and Zakane Sauls.
Shalom, shalom, Miss Paka. Again, my name is Zakane Sauls. I am certainly happy to be here with this wonderful organization of United Global Kingdom of Africa to bring the two sticks back together. I serve as the HR director. What we do here in this event is to hopefully to get interest in you wanting to partner with us, bring your skills, not only just looking for a way out, but also to join this bridge and bring your talents together and let us work together to make this one global Africa. So don't look to say, what do I have to give? Look to see, what can I give? And bring those skills in, and we'll find a place for you. Again, certainly it's just an honor that the Most High have chosen us in this hour to work together in this cause. You'll hear.
Hallelujah. Well, welcome, 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 everyone. And like I said, just family, everyone that's in the chat, just get you, if you have any questions that come up, family, just put it in the chat, and we'll see. Hopefully, we can get to your questions, because the hope is that after we review the information, if you have any questions, hopefully our panel will be available to answer your questions. All right. So with that being said, family, if I could, get us started, and I'll just get us started just by sharing a quick story. So I know that, when our brothers and sisters were trying to move over to the continent, I want to say, and actually, President Lavell, you probably know this better than I. What was it, like 2-3 years ago, that our brothers and sisters were trying to carve out some space in Ghana? Was that 2 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years ago, I was part of that group with Ron Dalton.
Yeah, and and it was one of those situations where we tried to, and actually, if I misspeak, definitely feel free to correct me. But I think try to set up or establish some homes or some residency in that country, and it didn't quite work out. I don't necessarily know the details of what went wrong. But and feel free, like if anyone wants to elaborate on that, feel free.
Yeah, just part of that group. If it's the same group, to about 2.5 years ago, I went out to Ghana with Ron Dalton for the Hebrews to Negroes tour, basically out there in Ghana. It was a nice group of us. Say anywhere between 30 and 40 people. And what ended up happening is we got a chance to meet with certain leaders, and unfortunately, long story short, things didn't pan out the way we had hoped it would. We went about to acquire land, and then everybody not knowing one another finally got a chance to meet, and we became a family while we were out there. But unfortunately, we got scammed. We got scammed.
Yeah.
Long story short, we got scammed working with folks.
Yeah.
And at that point, many of us were like just checked out, and we learned something valuable, is that we went there as individuals to become community. Whereas if we went there together, it would have been a lot different. And that was actually the advice I had learned a year later, or should I say a year and a half later, from someone else in another country. But that's exactly what took place.
Yeah.
So
and
lesson learned.
Yeah. Lesson learned, and that's what it is all about, family. Lesson learned, especially if you're moving to a new place. Because I used to tell me and my wife, we used to talk all the time as far as like, where would you want to move, if you wanted to move out of the States. And believe it or not, one of the places I wanted to move to was Belize, of all places. So, so we were on this trip, man. So we was doing all kinds of research. I'm looking at, the crime in certain places, seeing what places are better to move to and all this other stuff. And, had I moved there, I mean, because, had I moved there, I'm sure I could have been in that same situation, because me being an outsider, not necessarily knowing anybody there. And that's the thing, family, like not knowing anyone there, not necessarily knowing the laws, what the rules were as far as like me acquiring, property, it's risky. It's risky, and that's just one of those things, family, where unless you're moving to a place where you have family there, like you have somebody there that can vouch for you, for you there, and tell you, kind of like help you navigate that sort of stuff. It's risky, fam. And if I may, I have like one other example in Ghana that I'd like to share, and that is, if you guys are aware, and bear with me just for a second, fam. Always, whenever I try to switch between these slides and these little video clips, it doesn't always go smoothly. So hopefully I don't lose anybody on this one. But basically, what I'm going to play for you, family, is just one other clip, and this is just a clip of our brothers from Dimona. I don't know if you guys know about the brothers they're actually over in Israel today, and talk about a dicey move, because they're actually living close to the nuclear facility of all places. Like when they bought their land, the government was like, "Oh, sure, yeah, come on in. We got a place for you." And they stuck them right next to the nuclear facility. It's like, no, you can live there for free. Right. So I mean, I'm laughing, but it's not really funny. But
yeah, it's laughable, but it's really not funny. It's tough. It's a shame, but it's
tough.
actually happening in various places around the world.
Yeah. I mean, and so they're moving there, and they had that happen to them, right? So, and they're still having to deal with that. So even that situation is not perfect, right? Even if, they're trying to. I'm not even sure if they're trying to find a better spot, but it is what it is. But I'm just going to play a little bit of this clip. I won't play the whole thing. I'll just play just the first part of it, maybe the first 30 seconds, then we can get out of it and kind of go into some of the other stuff. But let me see if I can add it to the.
We were driving past this place, so this is Cape Coast. Not quite sure what's happened. They've just come and knocked somebody's building down, just like that. It's crazy. So apparently the people who sold the land to him are saying his lease is up, but we all know he hasn't been here for as long as they're saying. They're saying 50 years is up, but we know he hasn't been here for 50 years. And people are here looting it, like looting what they can out of the building. This is so sad and so tragic. And
all right. Well, I'll leave it there. So basically, the synopsis there, fam, is that too was a group related to or associated with the Dimona Israel camp, and so they had I hate to call it a compound, but they had like a little community there, and just out of the blue, these bulldozers showed up and bulldozed everything down, and once again, they didn't necessarily have the protection to be able to guard against that. So just to show you that there are some lessons learned from different attempts to kind of set up shop over in Africa. So based off of that, if I could now pull in, bear with me here, family. I'm going to go back to the web page. So I'm going to stop sharing and then share my screen.
And if I can say something, if that's all right with you, brother.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Please jump in. Please jump in.
Yeah, it's what you're sharing and what you're talking about is common. And I remember sitting down with His Majesty King Bungani, and he gave me and Ron. Actually, it was both of us sitting down with him earlier this year. He gave me and Ron a piece of wisdom, saying, when you come to Africa, do not work in silos. Don't come here in silos trying to be independent, do it all yourself. You have to come together in order to make a stronger impact. And what I noticed after meeting different folks and following different YouTube channels as well, as far as from Go Black to Africa, who's been to a lot of different places, and I think it's Journey with Us and many other people's channels who are on the continent or have been exploring, and then speaking with folks, many of them say the same thing, is that when we do a lot of stuff on our own, we have to be careful, because some of the relationships that we make are not as good. But it's when you have when you have a collective you have a stronger impact. And then of course it always does boil down to your relationships. I mean, there's no way of getting around it. I actually heard from another person in South Africa about a couple of months ago saying in South Africa, relationships is the highest form of currency. And then I heard another person say to me, that's pretty much all of Africa. You know, it's relationships is everything. But it is a sad story because I think that video clip you were sharing, I believe that happened in Ghana. Some people who had built something, a structure, or I think they were building a hotel or something like that. And then they had been building over there for some years. And then that happened. And doing things without protection or without a certain plan can be obviously like that destructive. So it's
Yeah,
unfortunate, but I also hear stories like that in, like you said, Dimona, Israel. The story there is crazy. Some folks who did some things in Turkey. I actually know a guy who is doing some things in Belize, and it's his ancestry or his family basically is there as well. So it really does depend on who you're working with.
yeah, and to land back on what you were talking about there, President, it's almost near impossible to make it foolproof. I from my trade is in IT, and when it comes to like IT security, what I tell people is that it's an ongoing fight. You never actually reach your goal. you're always trying to improve every single day. So I can imagine that's probably kind of sort of what you all, some of the challenges that you all are trying to resolve as you're setting up the organization.
Yeah, I heard of a famous quote from Warren Buffett. He said it this way. He said the wise investor minimizes the risk and increases the opportunity. And that's what our focus is: minimizing risk, increasing opportunities. So then that way, when people, it's kind of like building a bridge, you want to make sure that it's sturdy. So when people come across that bridge, it makes sense. It's sturdy. It's reliable. There's less risk. Is it 100% fail proof? Of course not. What is? And let's also be honest. We're the children of Israel. Of course, we're going to have opposition. You know what I mean? This is the way it is. I mean, if we think that we're going to have any bit of success, even if all of us decided to stay in America and go off grid and develop communities, or we all decided that we want to go to Iceland or Greenland, and I don't know if you all heard about what happened up there recently, but if we decided we want to go anywhere in the world or remain in America, it's going to be risky no matter how we cut it. It's a challenge. When we look back in days of the first Exodus, he didn't say, Yahuwah didn't say, oh, you're just going to go into the land that I promised for you, land flowing with milk and honey, and you're just going to dance and it's kumbaya, it's going to be a utopia, you're never going to have any problems. Nah, he warned them, no, you're going to fight. You're going to fight. It's just what's worth more, going back to Egypt or going forward into the land that I promised you. That's what we have to consider. In all aspects, wherever we go in the world, whether we stay put wherever we are. If you're from Brazil, I'm not sure exactly where all your audience is, Brother Benaiah. Some might be in Europe. Wherever we are in the world, we have to make real decisions and understand that opposition from the enemy. We got an enemy. We have an enemy, but we also have a Hulk, I like to say it, which is the Most High. So,
and if I may add to that, going into this, Mr. President, there's two presidents on here. I'm sorry, Benaiah. We're going into this venture, this journey. We made sure that we understood the mitigating factors, the things that we were up against, and given that, we began to network and collaborate not only with our own staff, which we have a bank of attorneys and two of them here today. But also we made sure that we were connected with government, connected with the tribal leaders, King Ugambi, and some of the other leaders of South African community, so that we could sit down and discuss the issue. Because the idea of a diaspora coming back to the continent came from actually King Ugambi. That was his vision, and as it was his vision, we came there to put the skin on the skeleton to make sure that we was able to bring this to fruition. So in doing so, there were so many different critical connections that we had to make in order to even start the process of reaching out, looking for land, putting together a team, understanding the covenants, understanding the community that we wanted to, a Torah-driven community that we wanted to present to the Mishpachah that's going to come over from the continent, from America. So there was a lot of detailed things that went into the thinking and the planning even before we began to start advertising what we were doing. We made sure that our foundation was solid. We made sure that we were building on something that was stern, that was sure, and that, you know, of course, there are going to be some loopholes. There are some things that we may not have thought of. But at this point of the juncture, we have a very solid program and a very solid team that we have put together to ensure that those that are coming over and we will be able to assist them in their endeavors. Whatever it is, we'll be able to assist them in doing so. Thank you.
Does someone else have something before I move forward? But all right, I'll just say this really quick. Just you know, just an FYI too. So, you know, if you guys are, I mean, you're familiar with the African Israelite Justice Foundation. Not that this is the African Israelite Justice Foundation channel, but it's kind of, sometimes it's hard for me to kind of separate the two because I do advertise on the Benai Israel channel, and at some point, we will, most high willing, have another separate channel for the African Israelite Justice Foundation, and for the most part, I will use that that platform for that message. But to that end, since we are kind of mixing and matching a little bit, I do want people, our community at large to know that. So, I mean, the purpose and the premise behind our organization is to look out for Israel. Like, we are an advocate for Israel, like, especially here in the States. All the injustices that are occurring against our people, whether it be from the ADL or from any of these groups, we are in the fight for Israel. So that's our posture, right? And the way that, and in addition to that, I personally, my father, he, praise Most High, he just had his 80th birthday. But, unfortunately, we had a situation where, he got scammed, got scammed out of a lot of money, and money that he was counting on for his retirement. So so when it comes to, looking out for Israel and looking out for our Zakein, I ask questions. So just so that when you hear me asking questions, like, that's where that's coming from. I got family that lost some money. I know folks that lost some money. So whenever any endeavor that involves Israel, we want to make sure that Israel is taken care of. We want to make sure that Israel's not being taken advantage of. So I just want to throw that out there, that as far as, like, that's why we ask questions, family. We ask questions. We maybe more questions than we should. Maybe it's like, hey, well, Brother Benai, that's a little too personal. It's like, no, we want to know. We want to know. But that's where that's coming from, fam. I just want to throw that out there.
But you know something, Benai,
Mm-hmm.
we should have a conversation. We need to have conversations like this, because we are living in a time when, people are going to make decisions. They're going to have to make decisions pretty soon too. In my opinion, the world is getting to a point to where you got disaster on every hand. You got the looming collapse of the economy. You got war. You got rumors of war. We got plagues. We got all of it that was mentioned in Matthew 24. So we should have these kind of conversations so that people who are interested in making the decision to go to the diaspora will have some questions that they may have. We may be able to answer on this program, or maybe even future programs. But I think that we can no longer put our heads in the sand like ostriches and not talk about these things. These are very real conversations that we need to have. So I welcome the conversation. I welcome the questions.
And I just want to jump in real quick, just to kind of piggyback off of what you guys had pointed out. And yes, we need to have what many will call those uncomfortable conversations. You know, I teach my daughters, you know, it's like, hey, when you're meeting someone, you know, like my grandmother taught me, you won't really meet the real person until 9 months later. You know, if it takes 9 months for a baby to be born, you know, it could take at least that amount of time to know who you're dealing with. So have those uncomfortable conversations, you know, such as, hey, your credit, your health, and things along that line. So, and to Benaya's point, even from this awakening and being a pastor, even prior to transitioning our ministry over to this awakening, I've dealt with a number of situations of people just being taken advantage of. You know, even in this awakening, and I'm not saying that this is what this is about, you know, as far as what you guys are sharing here, but just know the concerns and where the questions are coming from. Not concerns, but where the questions are coming from or stemming from. Because I can say personally, or according to our ministry, we've helped a number of people that was scammed, that was, you know, told to go to these different locations and get there, and before you know it, they're being subjected to all kinds of behaviors and abuse. And so we had to provide them, you know, interventions, you know, for those situations that we've put a lot of resources out of our own pocket and connected them to other organizations within their local areas. So this is not from a place of trying to, well, or, you know, being standoffish or anything, being difficult. It's just to make sure that not just for us that's on this panel, but more so the people that are watching are clear of where, you know, that all of us, every last one of us, share equal, you know, concerns for the well-being of our community. And so that's why I just want to just kind of piggyback off the things that was said thus far, just to know that where my heart is always for our people. But again, these questions just to make sure that people are not, you know, they, you know, especially when you get to the latter end of your life, or should I say, the how can I put it, more of the getting closer to retirement, and that you're investing your retirement wisely. And it's nothing like seeing people that lose everything and then they're coming to you to help you rectify those situations. It's nothing like it. And I've dealt with it on a number of levels. So again, I really appreciate you guys for having this discussion. And I'm greatly appreciative for you, Elder, because you know, we all talk offline, you know, with the foundation, and we have these talks offline. You know what I mean? You know, we know how to put on, you know, we all friends, we're all family, and we know how to separate and ask questions without it getting ugly or anything like that, just to understand where each one is coming from. So I appreciate it. I return the floor back over to you.
You know something, Pastor Kelly, no harm, no foul. Listen, we are here to answer questions. In fact, if we could, Benaya, I would like President Walton to just give an overview of what we are doing, and then let's hear from the attorneys to talk about some of the protections that we have put in place, so that you can see our heart and see where we're coming from. Because again, we're coming from a place of being burnt ourselves. So we want you to know what we have done from our perspective to make sure that this is above board and people will understand that, you know, we're not trying to get over on anyone. No, that's not the case. And I'm not saying, and I know that that's not what y'all are saying. We just want to be clear as our intentions in what we are doing and why we are here. So if that's okay, I would like President Walton to just give an overview, and then let's hear from the attorneys.
Hey, President Walton, if you need me to scroll up or down on the webpage, just let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a problem. First and foremost, I wished AIJF was around when I got scammed. I'll tell you that, man, because that hurt. It hit us pretty big when we were in Ghana. When I say tens of thousands of dollars were lost, that's what happened, and it hurt. And so it discouraged a lot of people. For me, it definitely gave me some hesitation. So I don't ever take it personal when others are hesitant or questionable or ask, as Pastor Kelly was just saying, asking questions, because I understand. Shoot, I was there too. Definitely understand it. I just also understand, given the times that we're dealing with, and also given the opportunities that we're given by the Most High, is that we have to make decisions, and some decisions are going to be scary. So again, as I was saying before, the idea is to minimize the risk and increase the opportunity, because before we didn't see all the risks. All we seen was the opportunity. We went in blindly. When a couple of years ago, we went in blindly. Hearts big, eyes big, looking forward to the great opportunity. I tell you now, living in Africa for the total of about a year now, it really is a lot of opportunity. And I'm not just talking about from the Black Wall Street perspective. Some people would think, oh, I can build all these kind of businesses. Yeah, you can. You actually can, and be very successful. But I mean, just the idea of the land mass is incredible. Being able to have an off-grid, quiet community, quiet, sustainable life, being able to develop things like that is actually doable. And I've been to a lot of these places in the rural areas where they're still cooking in black pots, cooking on the fire outside in the big black pots. And they're still, I know some people are a little, queasy about it, but they're still slaughtering the chicken and cooking the chicken literally right in front of you, or an animal, or fishing, or whatever the case is. It's just natural life. Washing your clothes and then hanging them on the hang dry outside, or on the wire outside. Everybody doesn't have a washer and dryer. This is just real life. Everybody doesn't even have a TV in their home. Some people just live in the communities, and to see them, their life and how they live, is peaceful. It's quiet. It's good. But then you also have that city vibe, for those who are used to, like me, I'm born and raised in the city. So I'm used to the washer, the dryer, the television, everything going a certain way. With UGKA, we started off trying to do things really big, really bold, and it was good. The way that we started, and Brother Benaiah, you and I had this conversation months ago, where I was able to tell you how we were when we started off. But we received news from a government official out here, a conversation that he had, and also spoke with Princess Lorna. And the wisdom that he gave us was that, the way that we were doing things before was very tricky. It wasn't the best way to go about it. And what we needed to do was establish a company and a nonprofit. So then that way we can still carry the mission out, which the mission is, like I said, the return of the diaspora, the reconnection of continental Bantus and diaspora Bantus, the restoration of our people, the rebuilding, the restructuring, all that stuff. It's great. But what he was warning us is that some of the things that we were doing, or the way we were going about it, was going to be problematic for everybody. And it could be very risky and cost us a whole lot. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about, breathability, basically. And so the best way to do it was to approach it from this lens. So that's why, like on the screen, as you see, the About Us UGKA being diaspora-owned or diaspora-led real estate investment group based in South Africa. And so the company is based in South Africa. It is diaspora-led. We are in partnership with with Princess Lorna. She's one of the co-founders with me. We are in partnership and collaboration with her foundation, the Lorna Inn Foundation, where she's providing a lot of medical support and a lot of education to young people who are disenfranchised in Africa, who don't have the resources, and even some services to those families who do got the money in Africa, and providing similar resources for them. We're also collaborating with the Imbo Kingdom, King Bungani, and as well as his influence with the royal leaders of South Africa and the other kingdoms in Africa, from South Africa to Ghana to Zambia. Let me see, South Africa, Ghana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and a few other countries, Congo, and a few other countries that don't come to mind. But that's the goal, is to connect with everyone that makes sense to connect with, to build with them, to grow with them, and to have strength across the Bantu family. So that's pretty much it. But just from the for the sake of comfort and a surety, it would be great. And I thank you, Zakeem Bateman. It would be great if our attorneys who did get a chance to kind of share with everybody what we're doing from their point of view to ensure that people aren't getting scammed. Quite frankly, I know the feeling and it hurts. I know it personally and it hurts. And many of folks that I talked to that went out to Ghana with us before, they're still hesitant to ever try it again. I don't blame them. Just got to be patient with them. But as they see things going on, and then they also know that I'm here on the continent working and advocating sleeplessly. Like even right now, it's 1:45 in the morning out here right now. It gives them a little bit more comfort knowing that, hey, I know Lavell Walton. I may not know everybody else, but I know him, and that helps. And so it would be good if some of the attorneys, Dr. Stone, Attorney Yasha, could kind of give a little bit more clarity from the legal perspective on what it is we're doing to safeguard people's wealth and their well-being in general.
Yeah, shalom again. Shalom again. If I may, I would actually like to start to speak from more of a humanistic perspective. Yes, we are the Judicial Council, and we put a lot of time into research, looking into the various issues that we would face moving to the continent, looking into the various issues, undertaking the land acquisition process, such as the one that we're taking. But the first thing that I would like to say, again, we look at this from a humanistic perspective, because not only are we looking out for the diaspora, we're looking out for our families. We have children that are coming over. We have our parents that are coming over. And, of course, we have an interest in not being scammed as well. So with us being on the team, and our foundation is following biblical principles. We're very cognizant of how we handle each other, how we handle our brothers and sisters, and individuals that's coming on board with us. Those are our brothers and sisters, and we're admonished to treat them a certain type of way, to look out for our brothers and sisters. So that's foremost in the front of our mind as we go through this process. So as we're going through the process, we're definitely not going to allow anyone to be scammed. So, we have skilled attorneys that are on board. We are actually partnered with skilled attorneys and professionals in South Africa as well. So as we do our due diligence, we do that with everybody in mind, and making sure that there's no fraud involved, making sure that we've turned over every stone legally. We know that as this process goes, it is fluent, so things will change, and we'll continue to do research. We'll continue to update ourselves on the laws and so forth. But as it relates to the land, and I'll have my colleague, she can weigh in. We can talk in tandem here. But as it relates to the land, we do have some things in process. As individuals, make their decisions about whether or not they want to become a part of this community, this biblical observant community. We have things in process where when you pay your monies, we have an escrow account to ensure that nobody's money is going into anyone's pocket. We have a law firm that's on hand where everything filters through that law firm. Everything is legally accounted for. If for some reason there's an issue, we make sure that we contact individuals promptly to resolve any of those issues. So just leave nothing outstanding there. We want to make sure there's that humanistic touch, that you're able to communicate with us, communicate to our memberships organization, to communicate with our judicial department with any questions or concerns, because we do recognize that making a major transition to a continent, some places, some people have never gone before, that can be an intimidating process. So we do want to make sure that everyone is knowledgeable. We keep them abreast as far as what they need to know with the law. If there's something that we don't know at the moment, like I said, we research it. We have a team of great, skilled, expert minds that come together to make sure that we are working in the best interest of our family and those that want to come along with us in this community. And I'll yield to my colleague.
Thank you, Dr. Stone. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with everybody, because I know that many people want just to know the brass tacks.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many people have gotten scammed on the continent, and because so many of us in the diaspora have been traumatized by people taking advantage of us, by people looking at our business practices as if we are less than. We understand at UGKA how important it is that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. And so with us, we've set certain levels of protection in order so that we can not only have the Mishpachah or the diaspora feel confident that we know what we're doing, but we don't want anyone hurt. I mean, we're all Yasharal at the end of the day. We're all family at the end of the day. And that's paramount. If you all could see the heart of the people who are volunteering with our organization, I think it would leave you without any doubt that everyone has everyone's best interest at heart. So what we've instituted straight out the gate is a very rigorous application process. We have background checks that have to be conducted. That's mandatory. No cutting it dry. We want to know who we are dealing with in this venture. We have contracts that lay out very clearly what you can expect from us and what we expect from you. And then we also are working with a South African firm who's given us some guidance because this is what they do. They do land transactions in South Africa and they look like us. So we're trying to make sure that throughout this entire process, it's us, the Bantus Negroes across the planet, that are trying to make this acquisition successful. And so not only are we dealing with a South African firm that looks like us, we have an American-based firm that looks like us. This firm handles the escrow accounts. It handles the contracts. Their job is to make sure that UGKA is represented throughout the acquisition, and to make sure that if there's an issue with paperwork or anything like that, it can be brought to the Judicial Council for their review and approval. If that doesn't give some level of credibility to what we're doing, I don't know what. All the monies that are collected are held in an escrow account here in the States, which if anyone's ever dealt with escrow accounts, those things are heavily regulated by the government. And then as we move through the process, the monies will be held in escrow in South Africa as we get closer to closing. So, I hope that answers some of the questions that people have had concerning security, confidentiality, what levels of protection we're providing for everyone. And if it doesn't, I definitely welcome those questions in the chat. And with that, I'll land my plane.
Now, I do have questions. I know Elder and I, and along with Benaya, we would discuss this last night. And one of the questions that I had, and just kind of walk me through the process. If I'm someone that is interested in acquiring land, I know Elder mentioned this and I asked this question yesterday, so I figured this is a great opportunity for you to be able to pretty much give us clarity on it, because he mentioned yesterday that you have to be Bantu in order to acquire land. If not, you're leasing. So I want to get clarity on, I know you mentioned that you guys do background checks. What is the confirmation process to determine who's Bantu and who's not? And that's my first portion of the question. I mean, my first question, but what is, can you kind of just give us an idea of the process, start as far as from the beginning, and can you just kind of align that up with that question there of how do you determine who's Bantu and who's not as well?
Would you like me to tackle that one, Dr. Stone?
Sure, you can start. I'll jump in as needed.
Okay. Whether or not you are actually full blood Bantu, that is genetically provable, but we're not seeking that kind of information. So we're having to collect certain documents. I mean, you're going to have to provide us with your photo identification. You're going to have to verify who you are without going into too much detail. You know, if someone is not Bantu and they're clearly not Bantu, we tend to know based off the documentation that we request. When we run the background checks, of course, we'll find out some more information, but straight out the gate, you know, we're requesting photo identification, proof of residence, passports when available, and things of that sort. I'm hoping that kind of answers your question, Pastor Kelly, at least somewhat.
Yeah, I was gonna land back on that, because I actually had two topics. One was the community, and the other was the process. So thank you, Pastor Kelly, for kicking off the process one. And as far as like the process, just to kind of put it in layman's terms. So if someone, you know, if they're interested, and, you know, again, you know, just to put it out to the community, it's a, you know, personal decision. Definitely always consult with the Most High. What he would have you to do. Start with the Most High first. I pray that you start with the Most High first. And if you are led to, you know, become a member, so they would come over to the website, and they would click on the Join Now button, and then they would go fill out a form. And you all keep me honest here. Fill out a form, you know, press submit, you know, whatever information that's required. Press submit, become a member, and then is that like step one of the process? Am I right on that?
Yes.
We have
yes, that is.
We have with us Zakane Sauls. He's over HR. Okay. Zakane Sauls, would you like to chime in, please?
Yes. Okay. As you just asked, like Brother Benaiah, when they go to the webinar, I mean, when they go to our website, which is UGKA Now, and there, as you mentioned about clicking on Join Now, what they would do there, once they give in all their information, what that would does, it would alert us, then we will send them back. There's other forms that comes out. It's like questionnaires. They're gonna get a questionnaire form, gonna be sent out to them. They get other things. Once we get that back, then it goes into these other steps. So there's more than just you put it in and that's the end of it. No, we send you out questionnaires. We send you out. We try to find out what is it about it, or first of all, how do you find out about us? What is it that you know about us? Then tell us about, you know, your desire if you wanted to come to the continent. What brought you here? Then, as the attorneys have said, all this stuff is to help us gather who we are dealing with before. So we try to filter. It's a way of filtering through a process. So there's different layers, and then once they get past that, then we then communicate back to them via email. Then they begin to move into the next level. Then they decide, hey, I want land, or what I see or what I hear, I'm very interested. How do I go forward? Okay, then you become a member. We tell you about the membership. Now you can join in there. And then we tell you some of the benefits you will get from that and what we will do for you. Also, there's a non-disclosure statements. We have all these things that they have to go through because of, again, it's the security process. We are, just as everyone have already mentioned it, we understand people, you know, they got this guard up, but the scriptures teach us, know them that labor among you. We want to know you, you get to know us. And we put forth these process for this. And then they go move to the next process. And then, as the attorneys have stated, once that happens, you know, people send in their funds, you don't have to worry that your funds have, hey, I just sent my money to somebody I don't even know what's going on with it. Rest assured, it is down going, it goes to the law firm or through the system of legal and being held. So that gives you a little security, like, okay, my money just ain't in somebody's hand and they out driving, you know, some fancy car, and then I'm lost. No, again, we have put all these things together to try to help, as President Walton mentioned, litigate some of this risk, and people don't have to worry themselves about it. So that website, it gives you so much that you can find out once you go there. And it is not like once you go to some websites, You don't know who it is. We communicate with you back and forth all the time to help you out in this process. I'll yield there.
All right, and then just to go back to the determination in terms of with the process of determining whether you're Bantu or not, does that include, for example, DNA results? You know, to kind of try to get an idea of exactly who's who. You know, I understand the background checks. You know, I've been subjected to a number of background checks for different level clearances and all those different things. But part of that determining who's who is that does it require a DNA test also uh, with the land itself? Let's just say the person makes it through the process. Um, you know, they want they put money there and so forth. Uh, at what point is the determination for us in terms of um, if they're Bantu, then they're able to purchase the actual land. If not, leasing. Just want to get a little more information on that as well. Like, do you actually even, um, if you're Bantu, do you actually own the property? Because I know that certain countries, like my mother-in-law, is currently in Tanzania, however you want to pronounce it, and there, and I know other countries, you can lease the land for up to 100 years, but you're not actually purchasing the property, you know, because of, I guess, checks and balances and certain protocols are in place to ensure that there's no backdoor way of colonizers trying to, you know, basically, you know, come in the back door to those different properties. So just wanted to get a little more information on that as well. But I wanted to get clarity on that Bantu, but then also far as are you are, you know, if I just decide to do it, make through all your checks, your background checks and so forth, am I actually buying the land or am I leasing, or is the land purchased through your organization and the organization actually has the mortgage, right, in terms of the paperwork, the deed, so to speak, but I'm living on whatever plot of land that is allotted to me. So I yield the floor.
Okay, I'll give that to the legal team if you don't mind, Dr. Stone or Attorney Yasha.
Yeah, so as it relates to the land, so um, the land will actually be purchased, or I would use the word um, stewardship by UGKA. However, when individuals participate in invest or purchase this plot of land, the land, if you are Bantu, you will actually own your plot of land. There will be legal documentation that will state that you own that plot of land in perpetuity, which means forever. That is your plot of land, which is to, of course, not be sold outside of the Bantu community, but it will actually be passed down, you know, patrilineally through your lineage. If you lease the land, that will be for non-Bantu individuals. There will be a determined amount of years where that lease can be renewable, but anybody leasing that land will not have ownership of that plot. And Yasha, you can add in.
And I'll add, South African law is different from Ghanaian law. I know that in people run into issues with the ownership versus leasehold with Ghana. But in South Africa, you can actually own the land. Someone asked, I see that we have someone who asked a question about the seller. This has been the longest and most arduous part of this process, is investigating the seller. We have secured, as part of this process, we secured a South African firm because they have access to all the deed registries. They have access to the titles. Those are things that we here in the States do not have ready access to. So when I tell you we are checking the seller out with a fine-tooth comb, we are trying to make sure that the person who says that they own this 730 some odd acres of land that we're trying to buy, that they are who they say they are. And so that's the purpose of that South African firm. They're like our partner in this process. They're that extra layer of protection that I mentioned earlier on during this broadcast. You know, due diligence is not a quick and fast thing, not when you're trying to do it right and you're trying to be thorough. So there's so many documents we have to see. We have to visit the land. Thankfully, President Walton has done that. We have to talk with the seller, deal with the agents. It's a lot of work, but rest assured, whatever it is that we are doing concerning this particular acquisition, we're checking them out. I mean, down to the wire. Every I is dotted and every T is crossed. And with that,
thank you, that Imayasha, because one of the questions I did have was whether or not it was an actual ownership or not, you know, recognized by the African, the local African authority. So based off of what you're saying, is that there is a sense of ownership. So and that's awesome. And you know, you guys have to forgive me because, you know, my frame of reference is from the States, and so in the States, when I purchased my home, you know, you first have the you know, I guess the builder, right? So the builder goes out and they actually purchase all the land. Like they purchase like 500 acres of land. They clear out the land. They put all the, you know, the drains and stuff like that in there, and then they end up selling, you know, these different plots or lots out. It sounds as though that the process in Africa is similar to that.
Yeah, it is.
And so it sounds like you all are in the process of purchasing that plot of land. So it sounds like that purchase or acquisition hasn't occurred yet. So any idea of when that land acquisition will take place? Are you waiting for a certain quorum of money or finances before you make that approach? Or are you waiting for processes to complete? Anything you can share on that?
I don't know if Mr. President wants us to answer that or if he'd like to chime in.
No, I'll listen. I you know, I get to talking, so I'll let you chime in. Go ahead.
All right. So we are actually in the acquisition process. Again, you know, I don't know how many people who are watching have ever done a large commercial land deal, but it's not like buying a home where you just see the house you want, sign a contract, pay some earnest money, and then you do the other things that get you to the closing process. There is an entire process that occurs before paperwork is ever exchanged, right? And so it's taken us some time to get to the point where we feel confident coming out to the public and saying, hey, this is what we're doing. Our prayer, most high willing, his favor has been upon us this entire time. Most high willing, we're hoping to have it closed in January, no later than February. It could be sooner than that. I'm sorry, the end of January, no later than mid-February. So the most high willing, this will be done pretty soon, but we are very much in the acquisition process.
Okay.
And so, okay, Benaz, sorry.
No, well, I was go ahead. Somebody else have something?
No. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I know it's 1 a.m., past 1 a.m. where you are, President Walton. So I understand if you want somebody else to answer.
It helps.
It helps. But just to follow up on that question, because like again, I just have to keep reminding, like my frame of reference is just here in the States and building here in the States. So usually, like whenever a subdivision gets built, you know, the initial wave of people that move in, you know, they usually incur the greatest risk because they don't have a frame of reference. Like they don't know what the neighborhood is going to be, what the utilities are going to be like, that sort of thing. Like they're the ones that are blazing the trail, so to speak, because they're the pioneers. So I would assume that it's because we're so early in the process that the people that are part of that first wave, is it fair to say that, you know, that the risk for the folks that participate in the first wave, that it, you know, that is going to be relatively high compared to someone that comes along later?
One thing I'll chime in on this part is that one thing we are doing is partnering with the town planner so that people can have an idea of exactly what that would look like, where their plots would be, site plans and all that, and then what the town would look like, say, you know, 5-year plan for the town. So that would minimize a lot of that risk. Another thing is we are partnering with multiple different contractors and civil engineers out here on the continent, architects as well, to try to minimize some of that risk. But to your point, the first ones always are going to be considered the ones enduring a little more of the risk than others. Like I was saying before, our deal is to make sure we minimize as much of that risk as possible, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And real quick, I wanted to I sorry to switch subjects, but Pastor Kelly asked something, and I didn't want to just leave that unanswered. So in regards with the Bantu lineage, I believe he was asking, how do we determine that? So just knowing, being an Israelite as well from the diaspora, there are a lot of our people who are okay with doing African ancestry, T3andMe, you know, ancestry.com and all that stuff. But we also deal with a lot who don't trust that system. And granted, I get both sides. For myself personally, I did my African ancestry, found that my history or my origins come from the Congo, from Gabon specifically, of the Ateke people. That was important to me, and it verified a lot of the things in my patrilineal lineage, that a lot of questions that I had. So the way that we're dealing with it is doing the background check. We are considering partnering with organizations like African Ancestry, and there's another one, I think it's called My Heritage or something like that. We are considering them, but we are going to have to find other creative ways to identify such things. But one thing for sure, we can tell, you know, from some images who is who, and as far as like passports and all that kind of stuff. And then as far as going into digging a little bit more through the vetting process. I hope that satisfies your question, Pastor Kelly, and I hope that the other response satisfied your question as well, Brother Benai.
I appreciate it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have that?
And as I was, I did want to say that it is a process. We are still going and growing. So some things will change as we go forward. Some things may be a little bit more strenuous with that vetting process as well as we go forward. I think with any organization, any company, even community being developed, there's always going to be more things you have to learn and apply along the way. And some things you got to get rid of along the way. And so just understand that we have not arrived with everything, but the basic things we are making sure that we are, as someone said earlier, dotting our I's and crossing our T's.
Yeah. So just to finish up on.
Oh, my apologies. Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, President Walton.
Oh, I just seen the question that's on the screen. Someone asked how many acres equals one plot, please. So what we are looking at, or what we are, as far as the land that I went to go see, I can tell you now, there are 6 dams on the land. So it is very, very water rich, a spring that hasn't dried up in the past 30 plus years, according to the owner, as well as that stream flowing through some of the surrounding farmlands. It's extremely green. There's flat and mountainous area. It's absolutely beautiful out there. It's over 700 acres is what we're looking at, over 700 acres. Each plot is 8,000 square feet. So it's about 743 square meters. So each person acquiring a plot, you have 8,000 square feet to build upon. Each plot is per household. So let's, I know how our people can get. They'll be like, hey, all right, let me build my house and let me get my mama and them and my cousins all in one plot. Don't do that. It's per household. Allow them an opportunity to have something for themselves. Because what you'll find is, even though you might move everybody on that one plot, what you find is we only acknowledge your name. And what happens 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 70, 80, 100 years later, plus later, they don't have anything in their name. That's not on us. Let them get their own. So just want to kind of answer that question that was there, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's not like a swampland, is it?
No, it's not swampland. No, not at all. Actually, the dams are all separated. It's not swampland at all. You know, I don't know if anyone has ever walked around 700 acres before, or have really thought about what that looks like. It is a lot of land. For myself, when I was out there looking at the land myself, it was really surprising. We had to drive on it. Also, there's no, it's not easily accessible either, because it is surrounded by other farms. So it's not like you're just going to get a bunch of people trying to just plop themselves there, squat. You know, you're not going to get a bunch of squatters, because it's not easy to access, for one. For two, it's you have to have a 4-wheel drive to get on that land. A regular car is not going to do it. And as far as water, it is water rich, but it's not water heavy. It's a swampland like, right? So no, there's plenty of land. It's all good.
And what about, okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I really want to answer a question that was asked by Shalia, wherein she asked, what's the purpose of the NDA? And I think that's a valid question, and I'd like to answer it, if I may.
Go ahead, Emil.
The long and the short of it is, we want to protect the process. One of the things that Yasharal and Black people in the diaspora have had a horrible habit of doing is talking too much. We do not guard our processes with the same level of care as the other nations do. And so we have asked those who intend to participate with us to just please don't go out yelling it from the rooftops to everybody and telling all that you know about everything. Sometimes it's best to guard certain things so that outsiders can't steal from you. So that's why we have the NDA. We're just asking you, please move with a level of discretion and protect the process, because we don't want outsiders coming in and derailing this process. We don't want outsiders coming in and making known to everybody what the process is. And I hope that doesn't sound too blunt, but it's high time that we have learned from our mistakes. We don't need to keep repeating the same mistakes. And so I hope that the viewers are satisfied with that answer, because it's really what it's about. We just want to protect everybody. And so we're asking you all to protect the process, protect what we're doing. Let's just move with a level of discretion, because we know that anytime that y'all's people try to do anything positive, the enemy comes in tenfold. And the least we can do is try to be protective of one another. And with that, I'll yield.
And one other thing I want to add into that, and I'm glad you responded to that, Attorney Yasha. Thank you so much. But one thing I want to make sure people understand is that even though all of us here right now on this panel are from the U.S. or you know, we have been in the U.S., we're not the only people the Most High scattered. We do have a lot of people in South America, Europe, Asia, Australia, New Zealand. We do have a lot of people scattered all over the place that are our family. That are no, let me rephrase that. They're not our family. The Most High's family. So our mindset with UGKA is not just simply, let's just help the American diaspora. We also have to think bigger than that, because this is the will of the Most High, is to see his people returning and becoming one stick again. So we start where we are. We're saying protect the process, protect the information that you're getting. We are telling you putting everything on the table. We're not hiding anything, but just be careful what you say, because at the end of the day, everybody's still going to go through the exact same vetting process no matter what. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, just one quick land back, because we see the same thing here in the States, and that is the enemies of Israel will try to find out where you have stuff like even Ron, I know brother Ron Dalton can attest to this. Like they were calling him, asking him, so where you got your movies at, and who are you working with? Who's your distributor, stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, magically, his distributor start working with him. Magically, the places where his movies and videos were located, they started refusing them service. So it kind of goes back to that, and even oh man, I want to say like stuff like YouTube. I mean, folks find out that you have stuff on YouTube. All of a sudden, magically your your YouTube page starts having issues, right? So yeah, there's definitely legitimacy to what was just said, because the enemies of Israel go after assets. Like they go after. I mean, Kanye West, right? They found out who was doing the sneakers deal. They went after the sneakers. That's what they do, family. So
and we also have to understand some of those enemies, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Sometimes they come through the house. So we got to be careful. You just have to be wise. At the end of the day, you have to be wise. My grandmother used to tell me when I was younger, and I later on seen it in the scriptures, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. You have to be wise. So this stuff, brother.
And I just had another question as well, because Benaya gave a great example about using a subdivision, a development of a subdivision as an example. And normally when subdivisions are established, they're looking at communities, the surrounding community, school system, and things along that line. What are some of the things that that are in the works or plans uh, in terms of common areas and things along that line? Because we know 700 acres is a lot of land, but
uh-oh, is that my audio?
Me? Oh no, okay. I think he's internet connection issues.
Yeah,
No,
we may have
he
lost
froze.
that. Okay, whew, I thought that was my my internet there for a moment. All right, well, hey, since I guess whenever Pastor Kelly comes back on, we can field this question. But I did have another follow-up question about the process. So again, using the example of purchasing assets, a home here in the States. So when we purchased our home, we went to I went to my real estate agent, and went to the place where I was purchasing a house from, or building my house. And I had to put money down. Like I had to put a deposit down. There were some rules around the deposit. I couldn't, once they started building and breaking ground on the land, that money was there, and there was only a certain amount of conditions where I could get that money back, right? So basically, in my mind, I knew up front that once I committed that money, that was it. Like I wasn't getting that money back. So my question is twofold. One is, whenever someone, and you guys can tell me if I'm asking too much, but whenever someone has gotten to the point where they are interested in purchasing the land, are they required to pay up front for the entire parcel up front, or is it a deposit? And if it is a deposit, is it refundable, or is it one of those things where once you submit it, that's it?
Legal team, you can go ahead and chime in, Dr. Stone.
Okay. So yes, once an individual purchased the land, right now we do have what we call is an opportunity to get a discount rate for the plots. So with that, if an individual need to make a deposit, they can do that. Right now, we can get those plots at a discounted rate of $1,500 through, I believe, January 15th of 2024. Once the contract is actually signed, at that point, refunds generally are not given unless there are exceptions. Exceptions meaning there's some type of critical medical issue that prohibits the person from, moving to the continent, or there's an issue after we've gone through the vetting process and if the individual doesn't pass the background check for whatever reason, or after we, the committee have vetted them, just, to look at what the issue is, and, whether they're are able to be allowed in the community. If there's an issue with that, circumstances like that, individuals will actually be refunded their monies at that point, that junction. So,
Right.
did that answer that question for you? Or
It does. So if I could kind of rephrase what you just said. So aside from certain conditions, once it's submitted, that's pretty much it until the land is actually acquired and stuff like that.
Once
That's
it's
right.
finished and the contract is signed, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We're asking, and we would prefer, because the price of the plots are so affordable. We're asking that if you have it, just go ahead and pay for it. And when you are building a home, just to reference here in the States, certain monies, once the builder starts building, that becomes obligated to that actual building. And so, we lay all of that out in the contract. It's also laid out on the website. And if anybody is really interested in more information, they are certainly invited to participate in some of our live Zooms, and some of our land tours and some of our summits. And that's where you can get a plethora of information that you can't get, during a broadcast such as yours, Akbanaya.
Right. Okay.
With that, I'll land.
Gotcha. That's fair enough.
And then also,
and we are actually hosting a summit webinar this Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. So for those who are interested, I did put it in the chat. So that is at 3 p.m. Eastern this Sunday, where we do give a whole lot more details, a whole lot more information. We usually try to keep that available, as the attorneys were saying, on our summit webinars. So then that way you get all the full details right then and there, instead of putting it all on the web.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that's one of the things I am looking forward to, is the actual acquisition and the actual building on the land, because I think that'll go a long way to kind of calming people's anxiety as far as like being, investing, to invest without actually having the land, or to invest without actually building on it, might carry out like a higher risk versus when someone invests when you have the land in hand and you're building on it. So, but again, I do understand when you're at the forefront and you're the pioneer, that comes along with it. So I do totally understand that.
Yeah, it's not been an easy process. I'll tell you that for sure. It's not been easy at all.
All right. Well, it looks like Pastor Kelly's back on. Did you have a question? Because you kind of cut out there, Pastor Kelly.
Yeah, I'm on my phone because for some reason I got kicked out of StreamYard and none of my browsers are letting me get back in. So I just connected with my phone real quick, because my charge is not high on my phone as well, but not sure. Just got mysteriously kicked out, so I can't get back in through my laptop here. But anyway, yeah, I was just my question was pretty much having questions in terms of the community development, common area, things along that line. What city, is it near? The type of, access roads and, things along that line. It's one thing to have a piece of property, but what is the surrounding area? What is the overall community, the goal of the objective of developing the community? Do you have, like, let's just say, a blueprint or an idea of how the community, the goal of how the community will look in the future? How close is it to, let's just say, the nearest, let's just say, market and things along that line? So that was my question. So I'll yield the floor. Like I said, I don't have a lot of charge in this phone, so I'll just fall back here and I'll just listen to you guys once my charge gets up and going. If you guys are still going, and if not, I'll just get caught up with you and I offline, and we can continue on from there. But right now, my phone has limited charge, and I can't get back on with my tablet here.
So to thank you, Pastor Kelly, for asking those questions as well. So as far as projection of what the community development will look like, again, we are working with the town planner. So we had a plan from before, but that was with a completely different architect and civil engineer. So right now we're working with an official town planner to give us that landscape, to give us an idea of what that's going to look like. So then that way we can start putting some of these things together. So I don't have a clear, I guess to say, I don't have a clear blueprint to present to the world just yet, because we're working with a completely different town planner than we had before, because this particular land is not the same one that we were looking at prior. As far as close areas, without giving the exact location, just for safety purposes, I will say that it is about between 2 and 3 hours drive east of Johannesburg. It is in the province called Mpumalanga. It is the closest area. I would probably say the closest gas station, food places.
Oh, you good? You good, Mr. President? No, I was going to say, I don't want you to jeopardize the community's safety or anything like that. So, we do have some those folks kind of listening in. I'm sure.
Gotcha. So I'll leave it at that. So yeah, no, they're as far as grocery stores and stuff like that, they're not far away. They're not far away. Just a quick drive. Yeah, cool. I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Brother Bernard. We do have some of these folks. I got you.
Yeah. Well,
I tell you what, Kelly, we all can talk offline. How about that? All of us with Brother Bernard, we'll talk offline, give a little more details.
Absolutely. Well, panel, I have to go ahead and jump off. My phone is about to go dead, and I still can't get on StreamYard, and none of my browsers on my computer in front of me. But I really appreciate you guys taking the time out. And I just want to reiterate to those that are watching, far as our stance in terms of transitioning, investing is always a good thing. And also we all have to look at transitioning, whether it's in this generation or in the future, at least having something established to where as though you have a plan should something go haywire. Like here at my home, I have a backup plan. If my power is out, I have generators. I have a backup plan. So the question is not is it okay? Because it's always okay to plan ahead, and you have to look out for your future as well as your immediate time. So we're all in agreement with that. So I just want to make sure that everyone is clear that we all are in agreement with that. We're just discussing the actual process, some of the tools that we have in front of us now, how to basically get it started. So with that being said, I yield the floor. I got like 3% left on my phone. But, appreciate it, everyone, and have a blessed remainder of the evening.
All right, Pastor Kelly. All right, family. Like I said, I won't keep you all long. And I know President Walton, you're hanging in there. I really do appreciate you for that. But I do want to, like I said, I just had two lines of questions. One had to do with the process. So thank you all for talking about that, being transparent with that. And then the last one is just community. And I think Pastor Kelly gave us a great segue into that. We don't necessarily have to spend a whole lot of time on it, but just want to let everyone know, what type of community is it? Because, like, again, our frame of reference is here in the States. So we think of community, we're thinking about a community or subdivision right around the corner. But from what I'm reading is that's not necessarily the community that we're setting up in Africa, in South Africa. It's more of a and keep me honest with you, like an Israelite community, with a leader. I think President Walton, you would be the leader over it. And maybe there's like a council of some sort that will help govern that sort of thing. I'm not sure if there's going to be community laws or guidelines, that sort of thing. So if you could just speak about that before we wrap up, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would like to say that the community is a biblically observant community. And the reason I say it that way is because to say just Torah observant not everybody fully understands that. And so when we say a biblically observant, meaning we go with the whole book, knowing the foundation is Torah. So we include the Torah, Tanakh, the prophets, the Gospels, all of it, the Acts of the Apostles, the whole book. The Council of Leaders is the elders, the eldership, and we honor just like it has always been in the scriptures. I do not hail myself to be this grandeur leader. The Most High is the leader at the end of the day. And I hope that makes sense. I know some people may like it, dislike it. Hey, at the end of the day, I'm at his mercy. I didn't call myself to this. I have my own plans. It's his will be done. And that's how it's going to be going forward, period. You said something else, and forgive me, it's starting to escape me.
No, it just had to do with the community structure. Like do you have a council of elders? Do you have some bylaws that you abide by? I'm sure you also have. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say I'll let the Zakins respond. Zakeem Bateman can jump in there because that is their area. Absolutely, sir.
In fact, as we speak, we put together a constitution that we can all abide by. That is, again, biblically driven, quote unquote, Torah driven. That would entail bylaws, not only bylaws, but we do want to deal with the code of conduct, how you conduct yourself within the Zionist states, and there's other things that we are working on right now as we compile the Constitution, which will give us a guideline on how we're going to live. And again, it's based on biblically sound instructions that we get out of Torah. Like Zakeem Sauls, would you have anything you want to add to that?
Yes, sir. Matter of fact, because he asked, Benaya, you also asked a wonderful question about the council and if there's going to be, how's it set up, which Zakeem Bateman told us about the contract, but we also have it set where we will again have the as Mr. President mentioned, we will have the Zakinium. That's the pure, the plural word for the Zakin. It's the Zakinium, but there will also be, we have people that we call, just like we call your mores or your teachers underneath there. But before you get to them, you're gonna have your Emmas, which is our elder women, because the scripture teaches us that the older women are to teach the younger. So you're gonna have the Emma Council, you got your Moray Council, then you got the Morals Councils. So we're gonna have different people set up in like a flow chart that say, hey, this is a community of leaders have coming together with a spiritual mindset, as they said, biblical base, that it is not like everybody's just living, hey, however you want to live. No, we setting a standard to try to get back to what we left. We understand that the Most High drove us off the land because we didn't keep his statutes and commandments. So we want to go back this time and try our best based on the ruach of us and the prayers of these leaders, putting something together that would help the whole community to come together. And that's hopefully would answer what you're asking, Benaya, about the council, how is it set and laid out. It's not like Mr. President, he himself, you got this dictators telling everybody you're going to do this. It's not like the Zakinium saying this. No, we have a whole set, but the Zakinium will be what we stated. Once we have that council of the Emmas, the Mores, the Moras, then the Zakinium, after hearing all this from each one, we will go into prayer and seek the Most High, because Mr. President said again, it's the Most High that's leading, it's not us. And we will hope we will come together, the Most High will give us direction, and they will be the final word. Then we'll leave it from that. Hopefully that answered your question, sir.
And one other thing I would add is that when people, I want to make this clear since we're on your channel, Brother Benaya, is that if you decide to come to the continent, any of you, understand what we're talking about, they already do. The honor for elders, that is continent wide. The Bantu people honor elders. It's a hierarchy of respect. Excuse me. It is a hierarchy of respect, and we intend to continue that as it is written in the scriptures. But yeah, I hope that makes sense for people to understand. Another thing is, if you decide to come to the continent, even if it were for a quick visit to kind of check it out and see what's going on the continent, any place on the continent, totally up to you. But if you decide you want to come to South Africa and see what's going on with UGKA, by all means, we welcome you. But here's a word of wisdom. This community that we are establishing is not diaspora only. You're going to see people from South Africa and diasporans coming together under this biblically observant community, honoring traditional Bantu family values. This is exactly what it's going to be. And when I say honoring traditional Bantu family values, that's just another way of saying, we believe in man, woman, children. All right, I'll leave it at that. You understand what I'm talking about, brother?
That's status quo over in Africa, man. That's they don't play over there.
Yeah, and some places, though, to be honest, some places are a little bit more accepting to that, to that alternative lifestyle. But the majority of the continent, no. South Africa is a little bit more open to it, but they're not totally. It's not smiled upon. I'll say it like that.
Yeah.
People are just smiling like, hey, it's all good. Nah, it's not smiled upon because it's not, anyway, I'll leave it at that. I don't want to go too deep.
Yeah, slippery slope.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's all good. It's all good. Well, hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because like I said, my frame of reference in all this is like, purchasing over here in the States. And basically when I heard the Zakinian talk about, the community and the rules and stuff like that, the thing that popped in my mind was homeowners association. Like whenever you over in the States, when you're getting ready to buy in this fancy smancy neighborhood, you better check out that homeowners association. Because if you plan on having barbecues, putting your refrigerator out front, painting your house hot pink, you might want to check out that homeowners association before you move over there. So anyway, but that'll be something that would be nice to look at before, as you're looking into the UGKA and stuff like that. So, but that's it, family. Like I said, I don't want to keep you all too long. I want to be mindful of everyone's time, and thank you all so much for dialing in. Thank you for our esteemed guests. Thank you. And I guess just before we close, do you all have any parting words? Anything you want to talk about as far as like the website, contact info, that sort of thing before we adjourn? President Walton, I'll give you the first word.
Yeah, I'll just quickly say we have our summit webinar. We can get a lot more information on this Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Join us. UGKAnow.com is the website. You can feel free to join there as well. That summit webinar, I would say if you'd like to email us at affairs@ugka.org, that's fine for any questions or comments you may have. But also, I did post in the chat here, the live chat. You can join the UGKA Summit webinar this Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Register here. I put the link there in the chat. Feel free to just register there, everybody, if you're interested in learning more, getting more information. Also understand when you do come to the continent, Africa is not America. So please be open-minded and understand that it is not what we are used to, but it is definitely not hard to transition to at all. Hope that makes sense.
Yep.
Shalom.
Shalom. Zakeem Bateman?
Yes, thank you, sir. I just want to thank you, Benaiah, for hosting and convening this meeting, this podcast. So, because, there's a lot of misnomer out there. There's a lot of things that's going on being said that it maybe might not be true, but hopefully we was able to dispel some of those things and answer some questions for those who are looking to come to Africa as a landing spot. And even if you just want to visit, again, visit ugka.org. I mean, ugkanow.org, and check out our website because
.com.
oh, that's
UGKAnow.com.
yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, because there are some information on there that can help guide you and everything. But I just want to again just thank you, Benaiah, for convening this meeting right here.
Told as I can. Emma Stone, Dr. Stone.
Yes, I just want to say again, thank you for the opportunity to have us on the platform tonight. And I just want to encourage everyone that's on the line, please, please, please meet us on Sunday at 3 p.m. for our live Zoom tour. I saw a lot of questions in the chat that we weren't able to address tonight, but a lot of those questions will actually be addressed on Sunday in detail. We'll have the full team there available waiting to address those questions so that you can make an informed decision. And prayerfully join us and join me as my neighbor.
Hallelujah. Oh, you just look for somebody to take out the trash, Dr. Stone. Is that what it is?
Maybe rake the yard a little bit.
There you go. Find the little kids. Find the
We
little
neighbors.
kids.
I'll return the favor.
Right. Ema, Yasha.
I echo all my colleagues. I'm grateful to you, Akbenaya, for making your platform available to us. We know that your listeners are serious individuals. This is not a project that is for the faint of heart or for those who cannot make a commitment. This is for serious individuals who seriously are looking forward to moving or even having a second home, such as myself. Africa will eventually become my primary home, but at the outset, it will be my second home because I still have obligations here in the States. But we're looking to be neighbors with individuals who are serious about building community that doesn't have some of these same pressures and obstacles that we face in the diaspora, whether it's in the States or in the UK or the Caribbean or in South America. It is about community. It's about family. Okay. And so this is a serious venture for serious individuals. And so with that, I look forward to seeing many of your viewers on Sunday, where they will get answers to a lot of these questions, to echo Dr. Stone. And with that, I will land my plane. Shalom.
Told Ema, Yasha. All right. Zakim Sauls.
Yes, sir. Shalom, shalom again, Ms. Pecan. Again, just as everyone have already previously stated, again, we want to thank you, Benaiah, for this opportunity, for bringing this before your people. And certainly we thank the Most High Yah because, we living in, as they say, perilous times. Certainly all this stuff that is going on in the earth today, and we can see it all around us. We know about the eclipse that's coming in April of next year, 2024. We've seen the movie that came out about Leave the World Behind. But now you said something to his audience. I want y'all to listen, make sure you home in on it. He told you the first thing you ought to do is to seek the Most High. Let that be your very first thing. And I want to leave out with this scripture to be read in your hearing. Even if you consider UGKA or anywhere, let the Most High be first. But listen to this verse, and I'm going to yield after this. It's found in Jeremiah 29:14. He said, "And I will be found of you, said Yahuwah, and I will turn away your captivity, and I will gather you from all nations and from all the place whither I have driven you, said the Yahuwah, and I will bring you again into the place whence I called you to be carried away captive." So you're going back. So why not look for UGKA to help you make that transition? I yield.
Hallelujah. All right, family. Well, hey, once again, thank you for everyone that dialed in. Thank you for our esteemed guests. Hopefully, this was enlightening for you, family. I know I learned a lot, and thank you, UGKA, for being transparent and answering some of our tough questions. You know, because like we said, at the end of the day, we just want family to be taken care of. We want family to be comfortable, and also be aware, you know, of what's, you know, what we're getting into. Just like Yasha said, like, you know, you got to be serious about this. You got to be serious about this and know what you're getting into. So definitely, you know, if the Most High is leading you to, you know, to go down this route, you know, definitely, you know, prepare yourself, and as Zakeem Saul said, pray, you know, pray, you know, and seek the Most High for guidance. So, anyway, but that's it, family. Again, thank you everyone for dialing in. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and Most High willing, we'll catch you later. All right, family. All right, shalom.
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 Oh.